with my new segment, Unmuted. I am your host, Felicia Franklin. I don't want to prolong the time too much, but I do want to get started. I want to be prompt, stay on task. Thank you for joining me this evening. All right. Again, thank you for tuning in. My name is Felicia Franklin again, and I am your host for the new segment, Unmuted. Unmuted is a segment about, we'll cover different topics. Each week there'll be a different topic, real world topics. It's real life. Hence the saying, it's real life coaching. I will be giving some personal testimonies. I will be bringing in other guests every week. It'll be a different topic, but periodically we will be bringing in different guests in their own perspective places, to talk about different things that's going on. Some of the topics will be current topics that are going on right now. Some of the things we will be discussing will be domestic violence, emotional abuse, suicide. The suicide, it's running rampant right now. And so we really want to put some light on that. Mental health issues also. So we'll be talking, and some nights it'll be very transparent. Transparent for myself, transparent for some of the guests, the different topics. I do want to put a disclaimer out right now. Feel free to leave comments, inbox me if you need to, either my professional page or my personal page, regarding how you feel, if you need someone to talk to, if some of the topics really touched you and you feel like you need some different resources, if you feel like that you need some help in certain areas. And you can't handle it alone. If there's something dealing with suicide, we want to make sure that we are catering to what you need. Everyone goes through something. One of my sayings that I say all the time is, we're all ex-somethings. No one is exempt from life. I call it life-uationships. Life happens to us all. And with that being said, I want to go into one of the topics stemming from Unmuted, silencers, different silencers. Silencers can very well be anything. Relationships can be silencers. A lot of people, when we look at domestic violence, that's a silencer. You don't want people to know what's really going on in your life, what's going on in your family. You get isolated, or you feel like you're isolated. You can't tell people what's going on with you because you don't want to be judged. And that can turn into a silencer. But silencers can be very deadly. Silencers are detrimental to your health. So we want to talk about some of those silencers in different relationships. Work relationships can cause silencers. Family relationships can cause silencers. Emotional abuse, physical abuse. So there's more than just domestic violence. There's also emotional abuse that we look at as a silencer. People don't talk much about emotional abuse, but I did some studying on it, and you have suicide, you have domestic violence, and you have emotional abuse. Now, normally when you get into a relationship, the person doesn't just start out being physically abusing the person. That's not normal. Now, you may have a case or two where that happens, but that's not normally the case. Normally, it starts with emotional abuse. The person gets in your head. The person gets into your mind, and they start, mentally breaking you down, if they can get into your mind and they can get into your head and mentally break you down, make you feel like you're not worthy, make you feel that you're not wanted, make you feel that all you have is them. You can't do any better than them. They're the only ones that are loving you. They're the only ones that would want to be with you. That can cause a silencer. Your self-worth diminishes. And that attributes to the physical part of domestic violence. It goes from mental, which is the emotional abuse, the verbal, the making you feel bad, the insinuations of different things, and then the physical takes place. And once the physical takes place, then that's when you really feel like you're withdrawn. You can't talk to anyone. You don't want anyone to know what you're going through. You don't want family members to know what you're going through. You isolate yourself. You're very withdrawn. You start covering up. You start making excuses for the individuals. And that really furthers the domestic violence. Then that can lead over into suicide. And once it gets there, the person really, male or female, the person really feels that they have no other way out. For example, if the individual is a prominent figure in the neighborhood or a prominent figure in the city, a prominent figure in your state, your community, i.e. a judge, a captain of the police department, a chief of police, a doctor, or an attorney, the person will feel, if I tell somebody, are they really going to believe me? It can be a fireman, it could be a police officer. So they tend to feel like they have no one to talk to, and they start holding everything in. And that's a silencer. That domestic violence silenced you. That emotional abuse silenced you. And when you feel like you have nowhere to turn, or the person feels like they have nowhere to turn, then what in turn happens, they may or may not take their life. They may attempt to take their life. So there's a correlation between all of those. You have the emotional abuse, which is a silencer. You have the domestic violence, which is a silencer, and it leads to suicide. And bullying, it's another silencer. The different things, we have so many right now in the times that we're living in. We have the LGBT, we have all of these different genres, and everyone wants to find their place. Trans and it all. So it's not our place to judge whether you feel like it's right or whether you feel like it's wrong. It is not our place to judge someone. We're supposed to uplift them, and that's what the Bible says to do. Now, I don't want to get too churchy, but I will put biblical principles in, because that's what it's all based on. That's what I believe in. But you want to make sure that you don't judge the individual for what they're going through. You don't want to make them feel more withdrawn than what they really are, because that can cause them to go more into that silence mode, and it in turn takes it can get really bad for the person. They can go into a state of depression. They can go into a state of oppression. And so those are some of the very main topics that we'll be talking about on tonight. Again, my name is Felicia Franklin. I am your host for the segment Unmuted. I want to thank you all again for tuning in. Feel free to share. And if you know someone, the good thing about this is I wanted to do something, and it was really impressed on my heart to do something for individuals. There's so many people going through different things, but they don't want to talk to anyone. Or you can have a training, mass trainings and mass teachings, but some people will not actually attend them because they don't want to be singled out. So if I bring it to you, then maybe someone will hear something that really resounds in their spirit, and it will in turn help them. So that's what it's all about. We want to give out different resources. We will be talking about homelessness. We will be talking about what relationships do. We will be talking about several different issues going through. We will be talking about divorce. We will be talking about bankruptcy, real life situations, how you can make it through. We will also be talking about We will be talking about different topics like teenage pregnancy and making it on your own, and not being a statistic or feeling like you're a statistic, not being a product of your environment. And that's a really big thing today in this age, because some people want more than what they've actually seen in their life or growing up. However, they don't know how to get there. Now, I'll be transparent, and I will say this. There have been several times that I wanted to do something in my life. I really had the passion to go about and start a certain business or do something, and I just needed some guidance on it. But because someone was insecure in themselves or insecure in their personal life or their professional life, instead of helping me, they turned the deaf ear to me. They turned away from me. I didn't want anything but the knowledge that they have. So we don't want to be information hoarders, because that kind of thing, it can actually, it can hurt a person. It can stifle a person. I know how I felt when that happened to me. The person felt like maybe I would be better than them. In my mind, that's not what I was looking at. I went to that individual because I knew they had the knowledge, and if they could just take me under their wing and mentor me. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about, joining their team. It was just about getting knowledge. And a lot of people these days, they get insecure in their brands. They get insecure in what they're doing, and they don't want to help someone else. But it's enough in the world for us all to get it. So we can't be informational hoarders. We can't be, we have to learn how to help others and realize that what is for you is for you. If there's something that you want to do, there's something that you want, no one can take your shine from you. What God has for you is for you. Those kind of things can really turn a person away. That can stifle a person. And so we want to be mindful of that. That's another form of a silencer. I know in a couple of weeks we'll be talking about molestation, and we will be talking about abuse. And that's a very touchy topic because people are going through. You never know what a person went through in their past to make them the way they are. You look at some people and you wonder, how did they get there? You never know what a person has gone through. People are holding in a lot. People are hurting, and sometimes they just need an ear. It's not about you talking, it's just being an ear. You never know what life you can save by simply listening, or a simple hello, how are you? And actually waiting for the individual to respond back to you, to tell you how you feel. To tell you how they feel. There have been times, I've talked to someone, I've done different trainings, and I can, just go to a person, I say, hello, how are you? And I actually stand there and wait, but they're expecting me to just walk away. But that hello, how are you? And actually waiting, was what they needed. I have actually had people to come back and tell me, what, I was feeling really depressed this morning, but when you actually took the time to see how I was doing and wouldn't let it go, that meant something to me. And that's what we want to do. We want to be the light for someone else. We want to help someone else. We want to bring those others that are coming behind us, we want to bring them up. I have somewhat of an extensive background. I have done, I work for the Department of Corrections. I came in as a correctional officer trainee. I worked in the male prison. I worked in the female prison. I promoted to sergeant. I promoted out of the institution into investigations and intelligence. I'm also military. I work for the Bureau of Pardon and Paroles. I've seen on the inside of the prison, on the male concept, I've actually seen from the female aspect and the male aspect. I've seen 15-year-olds come into prison and their fathers are in prison with them. I've seen mothers and sisters in prison. That's all they know. And that's something that we want to stop, because some of the smartest people Some of the smartest, the most intelligent people are sometimes in the institutions. They're institutionalized. And it's not that they didn't have anything going for themselves or they didn't have the intellect. It's just they didn't have anyone to push them. They didn't have anyone to tell them better because they only did what they saw. They were reciprocating what they saw, the lifestyle that they saw. And you have some that actually want to get out, but they don't know how to get out. So they end up doing the same thing. They repeat the cycles and they're hurting because they've gone through so much and they don't know how to change. And people are so judgmental. We as people can be so judgmental that it turns other people away. It stifles people's growth. And we can all look back over our lives and attest to that very thing. It was something that we went through, each one of us as an individual, that if someone was just there, if someone helped us along, if someone didn't judge us, if someone didn't hurt us, if he didn't do me wrong, if she didn't do me wrong, you just don't know how to come back from certain things. And we want to give you the tools, give you the tips, help you make it through what you've gone through. There is a tomorrow. You don't have to take your life. You don't have to hold it in. There is a tomorrow. You can do better. If you want better, you can do better. Just because one person didn't help you doesn't mean that that's the end all for it all. We want to continue to push positivity on us. We want to show the next generation, but some people say that the generation that's coming up right now is lost. I beg to differ. I don't think that. This generation that's coming up behind us, they want more than what they saw. We, as being the adults, we being the people in the positions that we're in, we actually need to take them by the hand. We need to mentor them. That's our job to do that. We should be to others what we didn't have. And that's one of my main goals, is to be to someone else what I didn't have. I even say that when raising my son, I want to be to my son what I didn't have. I want to do for him what was not done for me. Not because I may not have been loved. My parents just may not have known better. Some parents just may not have known better. So we want to make sure, the Bible says leave an inheritance for your children's children. An inheritance doesn't necessarily have to be money. You can leave a legacy. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Tonight, I don't want to hold you long. For this first segment, I do want you to come back. We will have different speakers periodically popping in their own prospective places, talking about different topics, giving you tools, giving you resources, being transparent. Even with myself, if you have a question for me, feel free to inbox me. Feel free to reach out if you need to. If I don't know the answer to something, I can find the answer. I want to use the resources that I have to help other people. If you're struggling with some form of abuse, please reach out. If you are struggling with homelessness, please reach out. If you just need someone to talk to, please reach out. Whatever you may need. If right now we have a grocery giveaway going on, if you need food, please reach out. There is a resource. There is a resource for every problem that arises in our lives. If you feel like you don't know how you're going to make it, please reach out. What I don't know, I will get you to the right person. If I need to get you to a pastor, if I need to get you to a counselor, if I need to get you to a housing agent, if I need whatever I need to do for you, I am willing. And that's what it's all about. It's not just about me sitting here talking about, my life situations, and we will talk about that and bring other people in, but I want to give you the resources. I want to give you the tools. I want to let you know that the same things that you have gone through, someone else has gone through them too. And it may look like one thing on the outside and can be a completely different thing on the inside. You never know what a person is going through on the inside just because they look one way on the outside. So again, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to the first episode of Unmuted. We will be here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. live, Facebook Live. Please feel free to reach out, share this broadcast if you feel like you know someone that can really use something that I've said on tonight, or just need a resource. We will not be information hoarders. We will get everyone the help that they need in that particular place. If you just need someone to talk to, if you need a big sister, if you need a big brother, whatever you need, we want to be there to help. You are not alone, especially in the pandemic and the times of what's going on with the Black Lives Matter. We want to be there. We want to help. There is someone that's willing to help you and get you what you need. Even if you just need a shoulder, you need a listening ear. Again, my name is Felicia Franklin. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Unmuted. I will see you at the same time, same station next Thursday. Have a good evening.